You're at the giving up point in your career. Your thoughts are just saying, I should just give up. And it's not on life, not in a depressive way, but specifically on your career, the thing that you've spent years building, but now just feels like a dead end. And it's not because you're lazy or because you haven't tried or you haven't put in an effort. It's just despite your effort, nothing seems to move. The real danger in not following up on this mindset or ignoring it for too long is it will no longer be a season, but it will become your identity. And if you listen to the internet, you're going to get, well, just follow your passion, but your rent can't be paid with your passion, right? I've been there. I've helped many been there where you're just sitting there, 10 a.m. in your pajamas, scrolling job posts, and you're just like, what the heck am I doing here today? Right. And so in this video, I want to give you a very simple self-audit to figure out why you want to give up, how to spot whether you're burnt out or you're actually misaligned from a genuine perspective. And then I want to give you 3 steps to build momentum, even when you feel completely stuck. First, I want to ask you, what's the real reason you're thinking about giving up right now that you think before watching this video? Drop it in the comments below. Let me know. All right, let's dive in. So the honest truth about giving up is it's rarely about laziness. It's mostly about misalignment, exhaustion, and like I said before, just sort of a numbness or apathy towards the effort that you are in, right? It's just this overall disillusion effect about your career that prevents you from asking bigger questions like, who am I outside of my title? Or why does none of this matter anymore? I tend to think that while most people are very frustrated by their job and they think that that is why their life is frustrating or down, it's actually the other way around. It's that the rest of their life is actually not in order or not what they want it to be. And they take it out on their job because it is easier to blame the job market or to blame their career choices than on their life choices, because their life choices are solely their fault. Little do they know the career choices are also solely their fault. But what I find that a lot of people want to live by is they want their work to enable their life. That's why most people work, is they want to take their money, take their earnings, etc., and use them in a way that provides them fulfillment and satisfaction in life. The irony is you might be in a position that gives you the money to do that, but that doesn't solve the problem of outside of your life. And so this to me is the first thing that you need to do, is you want to ask those questions. Who am I outside of my title? Why does none of this matter? What do I want my job to enable for me? Right? You don't just say, well, I just want my job to be a part of my life and enable my life. Great. What does that mean? Right? And the thing is the biggest initial reframe before you start to ask these questions is being stuck is not failing. Being stuck is just missing clarity. That's what it is. As someone who suffered from depression for a very long time and a very big portion of their adult life, I tactically assigned depression to hopelessness. Hopelessness means you don't know what to do. You literally lack clarity. And because you don't know what to do, that just feels like nothingness, because there's nothing happening, nothing you're working towards, nothing next. That is what hopelessness is. So that is where the first thing that we're going to do is a self-audit. Okay. And what I mean by this, and here's an acronym, stole it from somewhere, full transparency. This is not my acronym, so I'm not going to try to take credit for it. But it's the CARE framework. C is for clarity. What do you actually want? Okay. I want you to use a regret test. I want you to look at this from a forward thinking and a reverse thinking perspective. So forward thinking is, if you were to write down right now, where do you want to be 2 years from now? I don't want you to think super, super far, right? Because that gets overwhelming, especially if you're young. So I want you to think 1 to 2 years. If you could be there, where would that be? And again, you have to realize in 2 years, you're not just going to completely flip your life and 10x your salary and so on and so forth. So you got to be realistic. So just what do you want out of your life? Personal and professional. Is it more friends? Is it to be married? Is it to be dating? Is it to get a promotion? Is it to earn $10,000 more? And the thing is get specific. Okay. So diving into each of those. I want to be married. Okay, to whom? What does that person look like? What does that person act like? Like, describe the specifics of the exact situation that you want to achieve. Build yourself clarity to the point to where when you read your notes, you can see it in your mind, that you can create that vision and it is boom, right there in front of you. Okay. A is alignment. Okay. So what are your current skills? What are your current values? What is your current social and non-professional life like? What are your daily habits and daily actions that you take? So this is an audit from the ground up, personal and professional, because this is what's going to allow you to now compare with your clarity to figure out where the gap is. I just remembered, I'm going to circle back to this. I'm going to pick this up in a second. Clarity, C, I mentioned I want you to do it both ways, looking forward and looking backward. So the regret test. This is joys of being a newer YouTuber. The 10-year regret test. What I want you to do is try to imagine your 10-year self, 10-year further self. What does that person wish that they did? What would they regret not experiencing over these next 10 years? So instead of leveraging sort of your idealistic visionary side of your mind, I want you to bring in your fear side of your mind. Like, what is it that you are ultimately scared of? That in 10 years, you will be scared shitless. Again, if you're not married, if you're not dating, if you don't have a couple promotions, if you're not living on your own out of your parents' house, whatever it is. So I want you to do that in both ways. Where do you see yourself short term, 1 to 2 years from now? Ultra specific. Same thing. If you ask your 10-year older self, what do they regret not doing, not having, etc., most, and get specific as well. Okay, now going back to alignment. So the reason we're going to map out your current skills, current values, daily actions, professional and personal, is because then this is how we can begin to identify. Here's where you're at. Here's where we want to go. Now the question is, how do we get there? And that leads to R, roadblocks. So what are the things that are preventing you from getting there? And the biggest struggle here is I want you to look at what habits. I want you to look at the people in your life. What are the skills that you don't have? But the biggest one, what are your limiting beliefs? What do you believe right now that is preventing you from getting there? Is it that you don't think you're worthy? Is it that you don't think that somebody from a small town can become a millionaire? Is it that you don't think someone in Gen Z, can compete with a Gen Xer? Whatever it is, what are the things that you believe? So these aren't actions, these aren't skills, these aren't results, these aren't anything tangible. These are in your mind. What are the things that you say that impose a ceiling upon you because you don't believe past that? And I know that this sounds cheesy a little bit because a lot of people, don't believe in the whole, that you need to believe it to do it, right? But the greats at anything believed that they could do it, right? I believe they did a study a while ago, and the people who become outsized earners or outsized achievers in anything effectively have delusions of grandeur. Like, they believe that they are capable of so much more indefinitely, no matter what they achieve. This is a prerequisite to success. Okay. So it's not just what are your habits? What are the skills? Who are the people in your life? Right. Because it's not just you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, but I'm a firm believer it's the average of the 5 people you compare yourself to is something very underrated in this realm. If all you are listening to, like, there's a YouTuber that I forget his name, but all he does is make content and videos on why Gen Alpha, Gen Z, and millennials are screwed financially and professionally in comparison to Xers and boomers. That's all he does. Never offers up advice about how to do it or how to overcome that. Just sits there and produces content over and over and over again of different ways to explain how screwed you are. If content like that is in your life, if people like that are in your life, get them out. Remove the external beliefs that are reinforcing the internal ones. Remove the people who laugh at your dreams and laugh at your goals, right? honestly, even if you have to, I believe this might be a Les Brown quote or concept, right? But be willing to disappear straight up, cut people off, even let them know. Like the people that you really care about, be like, hey, I'm going to go radio dark for the next 3 to 6 months. Don't text me, don't call me unless it's an emergency, but I'm not going to be reaching out to you either, but I don't want you to be alarmed. I need to just do some shit. I need to just do some work. I need to just introspect on myself, learn who the fuck I am, and build upon that. Clear your roadblocks, but you have to identify them first. And E is expansion. Where is the white space? Where is the gap, right? So now this is going back to that clarity and alignment piece. This is how we're doing that, right? So you have clarity, alignment, roadblocks. Now you identify what's the gap. How do we overcome them? How do we overcome the roadblocks? What are the skills that we need to develop? Who are the people we need to bring in our life? What are the communities I need to join, right? What are the things that you need to do? Down below, I have a link to my school community. And in there, I give you an exact ChatGPT prompt about how to analyze where you're at now, where you're looking to go, and what the skills, the habits, the people, all these things that you need in your life to make this happen and make it successful. Okay? I will be the first to tell you, I have a previous video on this. It was not that long ago, 4 or 5 years ago, that I was almost 6 figures in debt. I was closer to 6 figures than I was to nothing, right? In debt. And in that amount of time, I now have a multi-100,000. I'm now closer to $1 million worth than a $0 worth. My net worth is multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this isn't some extravagant number, right? Like I'm not rich. I'm not loaded. I'm not wealthy. But in a matter of a few years, from clearing up my depression, removing my limiting beliefs, and honestly becoming present and enjoying with life after auditing myself and figuring out where I wanted to go and mapping that out, completely changed every single thing. And all I've done is continue the trajectory of upwards. Okay. So leverage the CARE framework for your self-audit: clarity, alignment, roadblocks, expansion. Okay. Next one is going to be expansion outside of your career. This is the place where most people go wrong, is they don't want to look outside of their career. They just want to blame their career. Okay, so I want to give you some exact tactics that I have used and some people that I really like to leverage things like this from. So kind of the key personalities that come to mind that really helped me fundamentally change my life. Chris Williamson, Dr. K, Alex Hormozy. Those are probably the 3 that I will give in the last few years that really helped me identify a lot. And I want you to give yourself some daily journaling prompts. I don't just want you to journal the day, right? But if I didn't have to make money, what would I work on for 8 hours a day? If I were to leave my job today to pursue blank, what am I scared of happening? Who is it that I am scared of disappointing if I fail at achieving something, right? I want you to give yourself prompts for you to journal about and then answer those questions honestly and take the time to build that emotional clarity before taking tactical action, because you will have to face whatever demons you have that are causing you to be on the verge of giving up professionally anyways. And I promise you, giving up on your career, not earning money, not having fulfillment, not having purpose is going to make this 10 to 20 times worse. Second, I want you to start taking care of yourself physically. Move. And I'm not saying some crazy routine. Give yourself some basic goals. I'm going to do 100 push-ups and 100 squats a day. Body weight. Something simple, right? I'm going to go run around my driveway up and down it 100 times. You don't need to go out and get this expensive equipment, go get a gym membership, etc. Take a couple physical habits and just do that 4 to 6 times a week. Okay? You don't need to build this crazy morning routine. If you've watched any of my content, for instance, on ways to start your day, I think morning routines are garbage. You want to know my morning routine? Wake up, drink water with electrolytes. That's it. That's my morning routine. And then from there, I go, do I want to go walk around outside? Or Do I want to eat my breakfast immediately? Or do I jump straight into work? Or do I take my dogs for a walk? Or like, there is no set in stone next thing. There's a pool of things to pull from, right? So I'm not telling you to have this morning routine, or even when it comes to your movement routine, like start with some basic things that you're working out with that are very simple. Like I said, do push-ups and squats, do some lunges, like do things that are very simple, but then don't feel like you have to do the same things over and over and over again, right? But give yourself physical stress. Let yourself know that you can handle stress, overcome it, you enjoy it, and you love the results. That is what working out will do for you. At the same time, huge hormonal release, huge neurotransmitter release, all for the positive over and over and over again. Okay? But if you want to know, like I said, optional things that I do float in: morning sun, morning walks, morning dog time, eating breakfast, rarely, because I hate them, cold showers, right? Meditation is another one. Yoga, stretching, right? Like these things are great to just work in that morning routine, but just move. Give yourself a health reset. Okay. And then the third one is I want you to have some creative identity play. What I mean by this is go volunteer for something that you think you want to do. Do some creative writing, write some song lyrics, build an application, go to Replit, get a membership and build a mobile application or a website, right? Ask people in potential jobs that you might want, say, hey, can I shadow you for free? Explore hobbies, right? Go to AI and say, hey, help me brainstorm 10 identity paths based on these 5 interests. Or I want you to ask me questions to identify some hobbies that I might enjoy in my life and have a conversation with it, right? Like, just get creative about discovering what it is that you want to do. This is the type of stuff that when I say most people want their job to work for them and enable the rest of your life, this is what I'm talking about. Your job should enable your mental health. Your job should enable your physical health. Your job should enable your creativity, right? And that is what makes the cost or the reward of the job itself worth it. When you're spending 40, 50, 60 hours a week, but you're like, man, on the other side of it, I do get to volunteer and help people. Or, oh, I do get to build this application on the side, or whatever it might be. That's what makes your job rewarding, is when you actually get to leave your job and live the life that you want to live. And I will also say, in my experience, the simpler you make that life, the happier you will be, right? You don't try to do 50 different things outside of your work. Pick 5, pick 3, right? Just pick a few. Okay. So now tactically, what do we start to do here? So now we've gone through, we've done our audit, right? We've identified what it is that you want, where you are at currently, what is preventing you from getting there, and sort of an overall step-by-step process of what to do. Then we're also working on your mental health. We're working on your physical health and creating some space for creativity. Okay. Now, here's where most people go wrong: is you want to start this process tomorrow and you want next week for your life to be different. And it's not. Okay. The thing that every successful person in any realm of life, no matter how you measure success, whether you measure it monetarily, whether you measure a relationship, whether you measure it by achievement, you measure it by recognition, it does not matter. The thing that they all have in common is consistency. Showing up every day despite results. Okay? So this is what I want you to do: is now that you've started to map these things out, let's take something simple. So I mentioned the physical health, right? This is the easiest one because most people can touch and taste it very, very quickly. So if you say, all right, I'm going to start working out 4 days a week, I'm going to work out a half hour each day. And again, I'm going to do my 100 push-ups and 100 squats. Okay. Start tomorrow with 10 push-ups and 10 squats. Then the next day, go to 15 and 15. Then the next day, 20, right? Small wins show you and your brain and rewire that you can do it. If you try to jump straight to that 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and you haven't done any physical activity, you're going to be sore as shit the next day, and you're not going to be able to do anything. And you're going to feel almost punished for doing the positive thing because you're in pain. You want to almost purposefully not exert yourself crazily so that you get the small win on purpose, so that you can get small win after small win after small win after small win to begin to rewire your brain and change your internal chemistry to acknowledge these wins. Again, if we're talking about the creativity side on the volunteering, don't try to volunteer 4 times a month. I'm going to volunteer once a month, once a quarter, right? If you're shadowing somebody, hey, I need to continue to work my day job. So can I maybe come apprentice with you 1 day a week? Right? Again, if you're having the 10 ideas, I mentioned using AI and saying, hey, can you give me 10 potential hobbies or 10 identity paths based on these 5 interests? Then once you've lined them out, say, I want to pick these 2. What would be the thing I could start tomorrow to achieve, to work towards that thing? Okay. When you're running your audit and your analysis, or you're doing your journal, again, just start small. Pick one of these things that I'm saying, right? I said, audit yourself from a clarity, alignment, roadblocks, expansion. Pick one thing tomorrow. Pick clarity. That's it. Don't do the whole care framework. Just do clarity, right? Or on the mental reboot, just do a journaling prompt tomorrow. Just one. Walk away. Don't do anything else on this list. Stack these small wins over time. It's just like compounding interest, right? You doing $50 a week, eventually the investment curve will go like this. That's what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to give you the $50 a week, the $5 a day, whatever it might be. That's what we're trying to invest in ourselves to reverse this giving up nonsense. Okay? So now that we are past this, I want you to realize that you're not starting over, right? You're going to be finally slowly building with your eyes open, right? The best career moves, professional moves, personal moves, etc. They begin after you break things down into such small chunks and actions that it is unreasonable for you to take them. That is what you want to do. Like, I want you to literally take working out, like I mentioned. There is a world where saying 10 push-ups and 10 squats is too much. Break it down into, I'm going to put on my workout shoes today. Like, break it down into such small actions that it is unreasonable for you to be good. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick one of these things from this video, and I want you to start tomorrow. Then I also want you to comment down below that if you could rewrite the next 6 months of your life, what would you prioritize? Career, health, creativity, relationships, or something else? Comment that down below. I hope that this video gives you a framework and gives you an idea of how to no longer feel hopeless and be giving up on your career. Okay? Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. And if you want more tactical things like this, join the school community link down below. Till next time, thank you.